From the outside, we weren't looking too shabby. We had clothes. My son was in sports. We even gave ourselves like a nice little vacation. But the part that I left out on Instagram was that I was not doing quite so well financially. So I feel like a lot of people leave this part out as to why like we're in financial debt. Not all of us are being irresponsible, but I think that like a lot of us are trying to keep an image that we perhaps cannot afford. It's like a version of us that says that we're doing just fine when we're not. So when my relationship ended and I went from a 2-income to a 1-income household, I gotta admit I didn't adjust my spending. I kept buying my son the same things. I kept saying yes when I probably should have been like, oh, maybe right now is not the time for this. And it wasn't because I was reckless. It was because I was proud. I had too much pride. Because adjusting my financial lifestyle meant that I had to admit something I was not ready to admit. So let me give you an example. I booked a vacation because I was like, I'm going through hard times. I deserve it. Like, come on. Like, I mean, not because I had the money in the bank. It was because like, you know, the credit card was there and life was hard. And I just felt like I deserved it because who doesn't feel better when they go to Disney? I mean, and being that it was like the second time that I was going to Disney ever, I was like, hey, the little kid in me was like, I think we deserve this. We should probably go to Disney. And I kept buying clothes. I mean, like you need clothes. I mean, like nothing extravagant. It was just that like maybe certain things could have been worn a little longer, but I didn't want to shrink my lifestyle. I mean, not that it was crazy elaborate, but I didn't want to shrink it. And I wasn't ready for shrinking. You know, I just was like, this is the least that I deserve, right? Like new socks, come on. You know, I mean, not that new socks were going to break the bank, but when you go from, you know, a 2-income to a 1-income, maybe you should probably do some budgeting, or maybe certain things should be adjusted or should be managed or should be make sure that they were handled before I start going to the mall. But yeah, no, I wasn't ready for any of that. So the one thing that I will say that I spent on that I don't regret was my son, putting him in sports. For some time, I did have to pay for the sports and I don't regret that. I don't know, maybe I could have cut some costs, maybe found like a different, like sports school that was probably maybe more budget friendly. But that was something that I was like, hey, pride or no pride, I am not cutting back on sports. So that, yeah, till this day, I'll never regret that one. But I think the trap was in my situation was that like, I felt like every single one of those purchases were reasonable. Like, come on, like, you're going through hard times. Like you don't want to go see, Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse. Like, the girl needs new socks. I mean, like, come on, like, hello, you need new socks. And I mean, little Joey has to keep going to sports. Like he did, like, that's important. So like all of them were justifiable and were reasonable. So like there was nothing in my mind at that moment that felt like I was being irrational or irresponsible. Lifestyle spending never feels like a mistake when you're doing the actual spending. It only feels, you only feel it when you actually get the bill. But here's what I want you to learn about lifestyle spending specifically. I think it's the hardest debt to face because it doesn't feel like a crisis. Because like credit card debt, like from emergencies, it feels justified. Debt from medical bills, that feels understandable. But debt for like vacation or clothes just to keep up an appearance, that's, I think that one comes with shame attached. And I think the shame is what kept me from asking for help or admitting to anyone what I was going through. I didn't want to admit that I was struggling. I think just admitting that felt impossible. So that's why I decided to keep quiet and my debt kept growing. I feel like things started to change for me when I actually decided to stop trying to protect the image that I was trying to keep and instead trying to protect my future. And I feel like those are two different things that you can't do at the same time because the image side says like, yeah, spend it. Like it's completely fine. Like let's not over exaggerate. Like it's fine. And then the future side to you is like, okay, sit down. Let's have a seat. Let's face things. Let's be realistic here. So I chose the future a little late, but at least eventually I chose it. And so what I found was that I thought that I was going to be faced with embarrassment, but I ended up facing relief, like actual relief, because I ended up realizing that trying to keep this image was actually very exhausting. And even though the truth was uncomfortable, it was actually lighter to carry than me trying to keep up with this image that really was a lie. So if you're maintaining a lifestyle that you perhaps cannot afford at the moment, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to tell you that I was you. The image is not worth it because the relief that you receive from being honest far exceeds the temporary comfort that you get from pretending everything is fine. I'll see you in the next one.